If you're looking for an easy way to improve the drivability and response of your C7 Corvette, then K&N's Series 63 AirCharger Cold Air Intake is going to appeal to you. This is specifically designed to increase airflow and reduce intake air temperatures versus your stock setup, which will make for a noticeable difference in the way your Vette drives and responds. And it doesn't require a tune either, so it's an easy setup. Just a quick note on fitment before we dive in here. This intake is designed to fit all 2014 to 2019 C7 Corvettes, excluding Z06 and ZR1 models. The key to a good cold air intake is the filter. This is a washable, reusable, high-flow, oiled air filter. It's going to really help capture a lot of dirt and particulates. The additional surface area here via the size and the deep pleats will help with both flow and the trapping of unwanted debris. And since this is an oiled design, you get the added benefit of having that additional layer of protection against those dirt and particulates. The oil on the surface is nice and sticky, so it's going to help filter out even some of the smallest stuff that may slip through an otherwise dry filter. The best part of this, though, is that you can wash it out, re-oil it, and pop it right back in. No need to replace it. You can just clean it and be right on your way. Oiled filters like this have a pretty long lifespan, especially if you properly care for them, so it will help cut down on the replacement costs. Now, K&N says that you can go up to 100,000 miles on their filters without cleaning it, but that is in ideal conditions. I recommend cleaning this out every year or so just to make sure everything is performing at its best. Now, we see a lot of cold air intakes come through the doors here, and we see plenty of heat shields with them. I happen to like this setup though, because it actually seals to the hood and the stock intake scoop. So it makes the whole filter sort of a self-contained unit without having a closed box, and it leaves it easily accessible for maintenance. Now, as opposed to a more restrictive closed air box or a more open, smaller heat shield, this one is going to be large enough to allow for excellent airflow, but still keep things sealed off to ensure that the air is being pulled from outside of the car as opposed to inside the engine bay. That's going to make sure that those intake air temperatures stay low. So you get maximum airflow and minimum temperatures, and that means better power and better response for you. Now, attaching all that trickery to your throttle body is this large intake tube. It's lightweight and smooth for maximum airflow, so it's going to flow much better than your stock accordion style. Now, because you have that more open box design, the larger filter, and this solid intake tube, this is also going to give you more sound when you drop the hammer. Intakes are great for this, and it's my favorite part of doing a cold air intake, because when you're cruising around at lower speeds, you really don't hear much, but when you crack the throttle open, you get a great intake noise. So it gives you a little bit of the best of both worlds. Now, another big positive here is that this is a no tune required intake, so you do not need to invest in a custom tune or a flash tuning module to get this setup to work properly on your Corvette. Construction-wise, again, the filter is a cotton gauze media, and it's going to do an excellent job of filtering out dirt and debris. The intake tube is made from roto-molded polyethylene, again, providing excellent airflow and heat resistance, as well as that nice resonance we were discussing. And your heat shield is made from powder-coated aluminum here as well. So that's going to be nice and sturdy, and you've got all the weather stripping, new PCV lines, and all the connectors that you need. Everything you need is included in the box, so you can get this installed pretty easily. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. Pricing comes in at around $550, and that makes this one of the more affordable options on the market for the C7 Corvette. So if you're looking for something that's high quality and is an easy bolt-on upgrade but still won't break the bank, this is definitely going to be a great option. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you less than 2 hours to complete. All the clamps and pieces that you need are included in the box, and this is a bolt-on operation that doesn't require you to make any other modifications to your car to get it installed and working properly. We're going to walk you through that installation process right now, so for that, let's head on out to the shop.
Alright, for this install, you're going to need a 3/8 ratchet, a 3/8 extension, a Phillips head screwdriver, a pair of pliers, a pair of side cutters, a 4mm and a 3mm Allen, along with a 10mm ratchet, various adapters, and a 7, 8, and a 10mm socket. Today we're going to be installing an intake on our Corvette, but first we're going to watch a quick uninstall on how to take the factory intake out, and we'll meet you right here when you get back.
Alright, now we need to start by taking out our air dam for our radiator. So we have two 4.7mm bolts, two on either side, one here and one here. So we'll grab our ratchet, extension, and 7mm socket, take those two out. All right, once you have these two out of this side, you gotta do the same thing on the other side. Now we can just pull our scoop out of place and set it aside. All right, now we're gonna disconnect our vent line here. Now it's just a simple push and then lift up. Just see on the side here, just push that part in. And then we're gonna disconnect our mass airflow sensor also. Pull back on our red locking tab and push down and pull back. Now we're going to loosen our clamp on our throttle body and the air box up here. So there's a clamp here and a clamp here. Use our ratchet 8mm socket and loosen those up. Those loosen up, we should be able to take our elbow off. Now we're going to get our air box out of the way. We have two 10mm bolts, one here and one here. Grab our ratchet, extension, and 10mm socket. Take those two out. With those two out, our air box should come out. Just feed it around your line here.
All right, first thing we're gonna need to do is transfer over our mass airflow sensor onto our new piping. So we're gonna do that by removing it with a Phillips head screwdriver. Slide that out. Just take note of orientation. Set our stock air box off to the side and grab our new assembly. All right, now we're going to be installing our mass airflow onto our new pipe. First, we're going to take our gasket and peel off the backing. And then we're going to get our gasket material right on there, line that up, and apply some pressure. All right, now we can take an adapter plate and using our provided hardware with our flat washer, get this threaded in. And now we can come back in and tighten this down with our 4mm Allen. All right, once we have our adapter plate on, we can slide our mass airflow sensor in. Using the provided hardware, we can get that started. And then we can tighten this down with our 3mm Allen. All right, moving on to our air box, we're going to install a gasket seal around the top end of it. We will need to trim this to fit, so we're just going to push that on there and then trim it at the end. All right, once you work your way around the top end and you get to the bottom end and push everything down and make it nice and tight, you can now trim off any excess that you have. Using a pair of side cutters, we're just going to go straight down. All right, before we can get our air box installed, there's a couple things we're gonna need to do to the inner fender. We're definitely gonna need to remove that stud right there so we can get place for our new hardware. All right, using our 10mm socket, we can remove the stud. Now we can get our new mounting post installed into these sides here. Start by just threading one in. And just get that snug. Bottom one. And then our front one. Now we can take our air box, slide this in. All right, holding our air box in place, we can come through with our new provided hardware and our flat washer with our new screw and get that threaded in there. And now we can come back in, tighten this down with a 10mm socket. All right, for this bottom bolt, it's a little tight to get in there with the ratchet, so we're gonna switch to a wrench. All right, now for our front belt, it's kind of hard to see, but we can get in there using the provided hardware. Once you get that threaded on, you can tighten it down using a 10mm socket. All right, next thing we're gonna have to do is extend our coolant line just a little bit. So we're gonna be placing it from here, rounding it around the air box just like this. But in order to do that, we're gonna have to cut right here, remove this line, and then disconnect it from this side over here. All right, now we're gonna cut our line right here. Just be very careful that this is plastic. Just make one slice. And once you have that off, now you can move up to this blue connector right here, pop the clip up, pull it out of its fitting, and you put this off to the side. All right, now we can get our provided barb fitting pushed onto here. Once you get that all the way in, you can now connect it onto the car. All right, now we can take our barb fitting and connect that on. And we can kind of lay this in back where the original one used to be. All right, now we can take our extension hose and route it anywhere you need to go to get to this point right here. But for us, we're just gonna take it and tuck it under just here. And now we can connect this on here. Now we can take our hose clamp, slide it on. And we can push our hose onto the barb. All right, now we can put our filter in. And just set that in place. All right, before we install our intake tube, we'll make it easier just to get these plugs in. So depending on your application, you might need to utilize this fitting right here and also this one. We're gonna plug ours because we only have one. Just get that threaded in there. This is plastic, so you don't wanna go too tight. And now you can get your breather on. All right, now you can install your couplings. Slide one on here. Just kind of get that loosely fitted on. And then one on the back end. Now you can take your intake tube and get it fitted in place. Once you get everything lined up where you need it, now you can tighten this down with your 8mm socket. All right, once you've made any adjustments that you need to get your fitment correct, you can now tighten up your clamps with your 8mm socket. All right, now we can connect our breather line. And we can also connect our mass airflow. Push down on your locking tab. And then once you're done, you want to make sure you have all the wires tucked away from any moving parts. All right, now we can install our air dam. And you have your 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna get the driver's side in first. All right, now we can install our screws using our 7mm socket. And then for our lower one, it's kind of hard to see. All right, once you get these two tightened up, you can repeat for the other side. All right, that wraps up our install for K&N Series 63 AirCharger Cold Air Intake for 14 to 19 Corvette C7 excluding Z06 and ZR1. Just remember, for everything Corvette related, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.